Okay, I can actually not believe it. You'd figure with all the complaints about the matchmaking, Activision would have smartened up and at least turned off the matchmaking for the closed beta to get people to say, oh, the skill-based matchmaking's turned down, this game will actually be fun this year, and then switch it on once the game's actually released. After all, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, but apparently there's an executable code leaked that can literally toggle the skill matching on and off. But it appears the manipulative matchmaking is more blatantly obvious than it's ever been, it's here to stay, and it's shamelessly in place in the beta, which may make sense as it's designed to keep everyone as close to a 1 KD and 1 win-loss ratio as possible, and it's also designed to push microtransactions more than anything else, according to this patent that they've been choosing to develop for the last 9 years. This would make enough sense as they're already pushing the Vault Edition, which this time around is allowing players to use 5 animated weapon blueprints and a couple of operator skins during the beta test, which is more of an incentive to purchase it. And there's one gun that rules the entire meta, that being the Jackal PDW, and go figure, it's the main gun that's been featured in the Vault Edition and the most overused by the population that actually bought the Vault Edition. I wonder why. Why didn't they put the MP5 or C9 or whatever it's called in the Vault Edition as the SMG? Oh yeah, because the Jackal is an objectively better weapon. We haven't ever gotten a beta where there wasn't one gun that was completely broken. Last year it was the Striker, before that the TAC-56, before that the STG, and then before that the AK-74U. We always see at least one blatantly unbalanced weapon, and seeing as Black Ops 6 had 4 years to test all this stuff, it makes absolutely no sense why there's not better balancing. But here we are, getting the best gun in the game with a really cool variant in the Vault Edition. Definitely a huge coincidence and not on purpose. But I digress. With matchmaking that clearly caters towards players who purchase microtransactions, and is designed to push and advertise these microtransactions to players who don't already own any skins, it's apparent that in the Black Ops 6 beta, the matchmaking is still just as predatory and manipulative as it ever has been, and I can only foresee it getting worse once everyone gets their hands on the game post-launch. It's getting so bad to the point where in the first 30 seconds, I can instantaneously tell whether or not I'm getting handed a good game with a 2 KD or above, an average game with an almost perfect 1 KD, or a terrible game when I go double negative. So not to just spew anything random, I actually tested it out, and I hopped on my friend's Xbox account, which has a Game Pass, and hopped on Black Ops 6 and played it to my heart's content. And let me tell you, as much as the Omni movement is getting hated on for being gimmicky, I absolutely love it. It creates so much diversity and gives us something to learn. It extends the skill ceiling, which is great until SBMM kicks in and then it's not so great. But when it boils down to it, I can genuinely tell you that if the game didn't have predatory matchmaking and each game wasn't clearly being formulated with predetermined outcomes and advertising microtransactions in mind, I probably would have bought the Vault Edition already and would be planning out my approach to getting the mastery camos and such, because the mechanics in this game are so fun to me, and I could see myself enjoying a shooter like this for at least another year. At its core, the gameplay, the gunplay, the movement, it's awesome, and I really enjoy it. But unfortunately, that's where the praise stops. Most of the maps are trash in the beta, which is pretty annoying, and while the entire movement system and gunplay feel fantastic, it was very plain to see that the game clearly has the same rigged matchmaking that it did back in Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2 and the games before that. It is blatantly obvious, and I'm not just gonna complain, okay? I did an actual test playing the game from scratch on a new account that hasn't touched COD in 3 years. So after each game I played, I got out a notepad and I wrote down my results and my general thoughts about each match and what I noticed. Not after my play session trying to remember everything about every game, but actively jotting down thoughts during and immediately after a match after the experience was fresh in my head. And lo and behold, exactly what I predicted was going to happen, happened. So here's what I found with my testing of the game. It's still very clearly rigged, and we'll get that out of the way before we talk about anything else. But it also clued me in on something very interesting, and it's how good the matchmaking actually is. I mean, it's diabolical, but it's no joke how manipulative the system really is. It's made really well, and it does what it's designed to do scarily well. And I'll tell you why. I was playing on a friend's account who is great at shooters, but who doesn't play COD, which means although he is good at COD, I am a way more experienced, better player. As a result of all my testing, I managed to put together 2 tables for both days of me playing the beta. I color-coded my KDs and added checks and X's to take care of certain aspects of each game. For example, if you see green numbers, that's KD that reflects a good performance and brings our average KD up. If it's red, that means it's a bad performance and it brings our average KD down. If it's yellow, that means it's a basically even performance and it keeps our average KD around the same, meaning it's close to 1. If you see a crown next to the game number, that means I was on the top of the leaderboard. If you see a thumbs down, it means I was on the bottom. If you see nothing, it just means I'm in between the top guy and the bottom guy somewhere. So in my first game, although it was sweaty, I was able to drop 51 kills and be on top of the leaderboard. Algorithm immediately takes note of that because it's a clear improvement from the last time this friend played the game, which was Cold War. Following game, I go 31 and 19 on top of the leaderboard, which is a slightly worse result, but still pretty decent. That match was way sweatier than the first. Then by this point, the algorithm had already analyzed my playstyle, my patterns, and my skill level, which means probably by the next game, it will be able to toss me whatever it wants. And what do you know? I get a horrible 11 and 19 performance, and my team loses with me on the bottom of the leaderboard. By the way, this reminds me of them saying that they want players to experience wins and losses proportionately from their matchmaking blog, but I digress. I also noted that in that horrible game, I was shooting marshmallows, not getting short-range kills while hitting 3 to 5 headshots with either the Jackal, the best gun in the game, or the AK-47, probably the best AR in the game. So immediately after 2 great games of going nearly double positive in both, I immediately get a terrible match where I can't seem to do anything to help the team or myself. And the more games you play, the more the algorithm can learn about you as a player. This match was clearly tossed to me to make me question my skill level and knock my ego down a few notches. However, since I'm aware of the system and the fact that results and bullet damage are rigged in real time, it doesn't really work on me. But next match, I go 26 and 21, almost a perfect 1 KD, plus a few extra kills. Following game, I go back to double positive, landing a 47-24 match. Then the following match, again double positive, going 37 and 21. But that game, I noticed I couldn't kill a select few players on the enemy team who were constantly eating headshots and melting me fast using the same gun I was using against them. It's like I was getting normal results against everyone else, but against those particular players in my game, it was tailored to make sure I didn't kill them. It was weird to say the least. And after that, 34 and 24, nothing weird. Then after that, 18 and 22 with terrible spawns, I couldn't find anyone, and I was shooting marshmallows against the enemy team's top fragger. So I get off out of frustration. But the next day is where everything starts to really make sense. This algorithm is good, man. First game on, I go 26 and 25, almost perfectly even. After that, more than double positive, 37 and 16. And then after that, the following games were 14 and 14, 13 and 16, 26 and 12, and 20 and 23. Every game except one was almost perfectly even across the board, despite me going double positive in a kill order game on Skyline. So after my patterns were measured from the first day, along with my playstyle and my skill level, the second day I was going mostly even, 1 KD, with a few really good games. Then at the end, I got tossed a terrible match where the map was trash. Along with my spawns, I was shooting marshmallows with the SWAT RFT, which by the way is a burst rifle that can one burst 3 bullets into the upper body and get a kill. However, I was hitting 2 headshots in one body, 2 bodies and a headshot, and getting no kills whatsoever. It was clearly a tailored match to make me lose, so I backed out. Take a look at these results from day 1 versus day 2. Day 1 has way more good performances, but also way more horrible performances that seemed forced. Literally forced. Like when I was doing bad, I could not get a single kill, hitting 3 to 5 headshots. It wasn't just, oh, the lobby was harder, oh, it was sweatier, oh, it's a skill issue. It was literally, I couldn't do anything. The spawns were bad, my hit reg was bad, my damage was bad. It was the most fishy thing I'd ever experienced. It seems the algorithm is somehow measuring not just my skill, but my play style and my patience level, seeing what makes me quit and what types of players I have difficulty playing against, and who I excel at beating, as well as what keeps me even. When all of that up and down roller coaster in day 1 is finished, day 2 looks completely even across the board with a few exceptions. It's like the system has been calibrated, and now I'm rocking a solid 1 KD basically the whole time, except for a great game and a really horrible game that was clearly meant to balance me out after the great game that I backed out of because it was clearly rigged. But yeah, with a new account and a new beta, I had to try this, and I found easily that the beta is clearly rigged and the full release is going to be even worse. So despite the talent behind this game and how much I'm enjoying the gameplay, it really disappoints me to say that I will not be buying or playing this game because of how predatory the matchmaking system truly is. It wasn't difficult to tell at all what games I was meant to play terribly in, so I'm done. It's a waste of time and truly a waste of talent for the devs. Call it a skill issue all you want, but going from consistently double positive, dropping over 30, over 40, over 50 kills, going consistently double positive, to almost consistently a 1 KD the second day, goes to show that this is exactly what the algorithm is designed to do, and it is really good at it. But that's all I've got for now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm Prime Pete. Take it easy.